we are here at the beautiful
Thank you.
Music Workshop LV.com.
That's right.
We're off of North Tenaya by Craig Road.
That's right.
In the beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Happy to have you here, John.
Thanks, Kev. Thanks for having me on.
Great stuff.
Yeah, and thanks for coming through tonight.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to speaking to you a little bit about boxing. We're just going to kind of go a little bit mainstream today. So, big fight, Netflix, just passed about a week or so ago. Legend in Mike Tyson, again, 60-year-old or 58-year-old Mike Tyson against a not so much legend in social media superstar JakePaul. What'd you think of that fight? Just brief thoughts on that. It was a big hit. Obviously, about 60 million people watched it. The fight, not so much, but what are your thoughts on that?
We all know I'm the Mr. Power Positivity guy, but I tell you what, I have to be Debbie Downer here because there wasn't really much to think about, nor was it much of a fight. I mean, you know, a lot of people are saying it was staged and blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is it wasn't very entertaining. It left a lot up to the imagination. I mean, like, you know, we all thought about what it'd be like Mike Tyson to get in the ring with this kid. You know, old school Mike Tyson from yesteryear would have took this kid's head off. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
The fight would never have even happen. It should have been illegal if it would be taking place back then. It should have been illegal. But the whole thing is that I don't think it was much of a fight. It definitely didn't live up to any expectations that people claimed that they were having or not having. At the end of the day, it was water cooler talk. You know, Monday morning quarterback, everyone was playing it and saying that it was fixed or what did we expect? But we all tuned in and listen, man, at the end of the day, it was an event and people seemed to enjoy it, or at least talking about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everybody was talking about it. Were you surprised by the result, or did you think Mike Tyson had a shot at 58 years old, or you just kind of turned out the way that you expected? Just tell us about that just real briefly.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised that a 58-year-old tired out or just didn't really have any really explosive energy whatsoever, really, when you think about it. He had maybe one moment in the beginning of the fight where it looked like he was thinking about doing something and Mike might have gotten pissed off by something Jake threw out that might have had Mike think for a second, maybe I should take this kid seriously. But then it went out. And then also it was Jake's responsibility to do other things that he never did. So was there a silent agreement in the ring? Could have been. But, I mean, for Mike, I'm not surprised that it didn't go that way with him for a win because he is 58, and I think maybe there was a silent agreement of some sort.
Okay, I mean, that's a legitimate way to assess things. Undercard, just briefly, wonderful fight.
Shout out to Amanda.
That saved the card. Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor. Both two great female warriors. They stole the show. Just give your quick assessment of that fight and what occurred.
Both ladies, I have nothing but respect for. Amanda, huge respect. Shout out. She's been on my show before. Excellent fighter, person, everything. Very passionate, absolute professional. What a war. I mean, they stole the show. Thankfully, the people that were tuning in, the non-boxing fans, which there are a lot of, because that's what JakePaul does, right? That's what this whole thing is with Mike Tyson. He crosses over for boxing. If you're a boxing guy like I am, I happen to love it because I think it's great for the brand. And when we do that, we have people like Amanda Serrano, who usually would not become a household name, become one. Because a lot of my clients at Music Workshop, the parents want to talk to me. Do you ever see Amanda Serrano? Oh, my goodness, she's such a great fighter. I'm like, yes, she is. And, of course, I happen to know her personally. And, you know, she's a wonderful fighter that deserves that high praise. So thank you, Mr. Paul and Amanda Serrano and anyone involved that night to get the ladies that big push that they deserve because that was a hell of a fight. Oh,
definitely. So just to move on from that, because we're just kind of going nostalgic here. Kind of talking more for this show is a little bit more for the casuals. I hate talking about the guy so much, but JakePaul, I'm just going to kind of throw a couple names at you, and you're going to kind of give me either a yes or no or assess the reality if that's something that could happen. So we kind of talked about this kind of off camera, kind of joked about it a little bit. 50 Cent, a guy that, you know, is very well known. According to him, he was a New York Golden Gloves champion at one point. He's a lot younger than Mike Tyson. He looks the part. You know, he's got muscles. You know, he's a rapper. He said he got shot, I believe, 9 times. Jake Paul he's kind of a newbie in boxing. Would people buy that? I mean, it's like a celebrity death match kind of thing. Do you think people would be interested in a sideshow like that?
Depends on how they sell it, like everything else. How much shit talking there is, how much, talks there are about whoever's girlfriends or squads or however things work. Do I think the star power is there? Not really. Maybe a couple of years back, but then again, it's all about how you advertise and promote it, and what people really want. I mean, if someone, I'm, into a lot of what's going on in society and pop culture. So, I mean, is that name relevant as it was to me many years ago? Not so much. But what do I know? Maybe I'm detached from a lot. Maybe it would be something that sells. But if you get the right thing, like if remember that movie, what was it, The Great White Height?
Yeah.
When he comes in and he smacks the dude with Jamie Foxx, and he
Yeah.
smacks the one guy, and the guy comes in, he's talking shit all the time, the number one ranked fighter.
Yeah.
And they're giving it to the white dude instead because of his color.
Yeah.
And the one dude comes in talking all that shit, and the white guy comes up and smacks the dude
Okay.
that's number one ranked. And then that gets people talking like, oh, now the Great White Hype isn't so bad. He's for real. And I
Yeah.
think it's Damon Wayans' character is going to face.
Yeah.
Damon Wayans' character beats the shit out of him, life imitating art, because that's happened before. What was it with Jerry Cooney?
Yeah.
Right? And Holmes.
And Larry Holmes. yes,
Exactly. So
yes.
it's like one of those type of things. So it's like if you talk enough shit, though, people will believe it.
Yeah.
Like people were believing enough that Mike Tyson was going to come out, and he should have taken Jake's head off. Okay? I think he was being nice because I'm going to get to Johnny's real thoughts.
I got to beg to differ there. By 1,000% there. Definitely got to disagree with that. So, we've been talking essentially we're just talking about the most popular, fighters in the sport of boxing. This show is pretty much for the casual fans of boxing. A lot of casuals are actually fans of a real boxer. Most people know Canelo Alvarez, Saul Canelo Alvarez. His nickname is Canelo. 168-pound champion, one of the best fighters in boxing, one of the best fighters of his generation. Doesn't seem to really want to fight the best fighters anymore. Talking about fighting Jake Paul, possibly. Briefly, does that sound realistic? Just give you a quick thought on that. Does that sound realistic?
Absolutely, it's realistic. Why not, right? I mean, nowadays, listen, the modern day boxer, it's everybody's on the table to fight. Like, let's face facts. Whether it's a movie star, a producer, a podcaster, you, me. If the money's right, there's no judging anymore. I'm not going to judge anyone to take money off the table. I mean, people could say, well, Floyd started it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not really. Look back. Joe Louis did it when he needed money with the wrestling. Muhammad Ali did it, whether people want to say he needed the money or not. He didn't get paid. Muhammad Ali did not get paid what these athletes get paid today. Yeah. And these athletes get paid so well that they're still doing these cash grabs.
Okay.
Would I do it? Hell yeah. So Canelo, I ain't going to shame him. He'll probably face him because Jake Paul is popping some shit. So this is what I was talking about. This is what gets people talking. Okay. Notice how I started talking. Why? Because I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And I think Canelo would beat the ever-loving shit out of Jake Paul. I respect Paul, but I think Canelo will fuck him up bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. But since we're talking about Canelo, he's had a great career. 168-pound champion currently. He was undisputed, but he got stripped of one of his belts. Refuses to fight David Benavidez. David Benavidez basically is like, okay, I'm done chasing you. I'm going up to 175. So we'll see what happens with him there. So let's do some excuse me. Let's do some mythical matchups here because there are some great fighters at 168 pounds in the past. And I want to get your thoughts mythically, who would win these fights? Canelo Alvarez against a 168-pound version of James Toney. How does that fight play out?
James Toney. Canelo's going to have such a hard time hitting him. He couldn't touch Floyd. He wouldn't go anywhere near James Toney.
Okay. What about Joe Calzaghe at 168 pounds? Interesting contrast of styles. Canelo, great counterpuncher. Calzaghe throws a lot of punches. not necessarily known for his great defense.
I was going to
but
say
great volume, and he could probably outwork Canelo. What's your thoughts there?
He would outwork him because Canelo. That would be a tough fight for Canelo. Joe Calzaghe.
So
Canelo
you're
would have
picking
a hard time.
Calzaghe in that one?
Yeah, he would
All
have a
right,
hard time in that fight. He wouldn't get his hands out of his pocket. He would have a hard time.
Another mythical matchup, Andre Ward, great 168-pound champion against Canelo Alvarez. Andre Ward all the way?
Absolutely.
Let's see. Who's some other, I'm going to go here. How do you see this playing out? Roy Jones Jr. against Canelo.
Roy Jones, man. Yeah. Roy is best? Absolutely. Like, give me Roy who fought Montel Griffith the second time or even Bernard Hopkins the first time.
Okay.
Forget it.
Bernard Hopkins and Canelo at 168. I know Bernard never fought at 168. He went straight from 160 to 175 and then won the championship against Antonio Tarver in a great performance. But since he did kind of fight around those weights, Bernard Hopkins in his prime against Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound version of Canelo Alvarez.
You give me Hopkins when he fought Trinidad. He could beat anybody, I think, 160 to 175, believe it or not. At that guy, but the one that fought after that, because if you notice that Hopkins' career kind of got weird after that.
Okay.
But he peaked there for me. You know, it's like, how do you top that Trinidad performance? That was the best performance. So I think Canelo would win that fight. Honestly, I think Canelo would beat Bernard Hopkins.
All right, so obviously those are fights that I probably agree with you 100% on. I think most people would kind of agree with you with those. So I'm going to go some that I think are probably more where Canelo would be favored. How about Canelo Alvarez against Oscar De La Hoya at 154 pounds?
I love that fight, God. 154, I'd go Canelo. 147, Oscar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds... how about Felix Trinidad against Canelo? 154, 160.
Trinidad loses at 154. 147, Canelo would have a hard time because of weight.
But Canelo never really
fought
weighed at 147.
Yeah, he would have a hard
what
time.
What about the 160-pound version of Trinidad that fought William Joppy?
Oh, that was a good one because remember he like grabbed his face when he hurt him. He was like, I don't know. That was a nasty Trinidad. Ah, man. I don't know. Joppy was pretty damn good though.
Yeah.
People to forget like because of that. But he was a good champion.
Yeah, he was. I mean,
and he fought Roberto Duran. That's what people remember is that because he fought Duran.
That was pretty shameful.
That was shameful,
but
yeah, that would be a great fight. I don't know. I can't answer that one. That'd be tough.
Yeah, that is tough. Anything else you want to talk about, or you want to just call it here, or
if David the American Dream Reed, remember him?
Yes.
You got me thinking about guys.
Okay.
Many men got me thinking about men. Is that David Reed, the American Dream, before Trinidad?
Yeah,
he was the goods. That Trinidad fight ruined him.
Yeah,
similar to like what happened with Vargas. Do you think Trinidad was the ruiner of many great potential? Would have been. We forget how many people's lives he destroyed.
Oh yeah,
in boxing. No disrespect to Fernando Vargas and all those guys. He didn't destroy their lives, but. They fought at a very early in their career in very brutal fights against him.
And he was always somebody that
he'd get knocked down and get up.
Knocked down
and get up and kick the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty durable until once he fought Hopkins, he was pretty much done after that. Last one before we go. Ronald Winky Wright at 154 against Canelo Alvarez at 154.
Canelo.
You think Canelo would be able to
workman-like fight, shut him out?
Really?
Yeah, shut him down. It would just. I don't think Wright gets his opportunity to stink the place out the way he can.
Really, that's definitely.
I like Ronald, but his style. That's what he does.
Yeah, maybe from a style standpoint, just because he kind of puts those earmuffs on and he doesn't have a lot of power. He's not a mover. Canelo would just kind of hit his gloves a lot and
be a lot of
kind of move. And
a lot of pit pats, and Canelo would just be on strength.
Canelo's got better, quicker hands.
He would sell the strength to the judges.
But I don't know. I mean, it's definitely an interesting fight to think about. But it's Ronald Winky Wright kind of changed his style a little bit, became more of like kind of a come forward. power boxer as his career kind of went on.
But
It's just definitely a interesting fight. That being said, anything else you kind of want to just leave us before we go?
We're talking about all these great guys. Angulo in bare knuckles boxing. We're talking about these guys from our generation coming up, and that kind of went away for a while. Angulo, watch him in bare knuckles boxing, dude. He's got a whole new life, a whole new career. He's kicking everyone's ass, man.
Yeah, that might be some of these bare knuckle guys. Hopefully in the near future we can kind of get some different guests on. We're going to start doing live podcasts in the studio. Hopefully before the end of the year, we should be getting some other boxers in and some other, notable people in the Las Vegas area. We're going to kind of keep that on the DL until they actually come on. But we'll definitely try to keep everybody updated and just get some new content out. This is just an impromptu show. Kayonation podcast. My boy Johnny Signorella. You can also check out his podcast on
A Sit Down with Johnny Sig on Retune Media, YouTube, and at Johnny Sig everywhere.
And I can be found on at Vegas Valley Video on Instagram. I don't really post much, but and obviously Platinum Fights YouTube channel. This is where you're seeing Kayonation podcast. And thank you so much, and see you next time. And like and subscribe.
Unbelievable! You want to throw sometime? Bang!